You don't just like cats, you understand them. The way they sit at the edge of the room, watching before approaching. The way they choose when to come close and when to walk away. The way affection from them feels earned, not automatic. And something about that makes sense to you, more than you've ever admitted. This is the psychology of people who love cats, and it says more about you than you think. Let me explain. People who love cats are often drawn to something specific. Boundaries. Cats don't perform affection. They don't greet you at the door with overwhelming excitement every single time. They don't need constant attention to feel connected. They come to you when they want to. They leave when they need space, and they don't apologize for either. For some people that feels cold. For you it feels honest. And because you understand what it's like to need space without having to explain it. To love someone without needing to be around them every second. To show affection in quiet ways that don't demand recognition. Cats mirror something in you, a kind of independence that isn't loneliness. A kind of quiet that isn't emptiness. A kind of love that doesn't perform. Here's what most people miss. Loving cats often comes from understanding that affection means more when it's chosen. A dog loves you by default. That's beautiful in its own way. But a cat watches you first, studies you, decides if you're safe, and only then, slowly, on their own terms, they let you in. When a cat chooses to sit on your lap, it's not obligation, it's trust. And if you're someone who has ever felt like trust has to be earned, not given freely, oh, that resonates. There's something deeper here. People who love cats often grew up in environments where affection was inconsistent, not always absent, but unpredictable. Sometimes warmth was available, sometimes it wasn't. And you never quite knew which version you'd get.
He's been so patient
So you learned to
today.
read the room.
I know.
To sense moods
Maybe we
before
can
they were
play with him
spoken,
soon.
to wait for the right moment instead of demanding attention whenever you needed it. Cats do the same thing. They're hyper-aware of energy. They approach when it feels safe. They retreat when something is off. You don't see that as rejection. You see that as intelligence. Because you learned the same survival strategy. Here's another layer. Cat people often value quality over quantity in relationships. You don't need 100 friends. You need a few who actually understand you. You don't need constant conversation. You need presence that doesn't drain you. You don't need someone who's always on. You need someone who can sit with you in comfortable silence. Cats offer that. They're there but not demanding. Present but not overwhelming. Connected but respecting distance. For introverts especially, that's not just preference, it's relief. There's also something about being chosen by a creature that doesn't need you. Dogs depend on you. They need walks, constant attention, active engagement. Cats are different. They can survive without you. They can entertain themselves. They don't require your presence to feel complete. So when a cat chooses to be near you, it's not need, it's want. And for people who have ever felt like a burden, like their presence was tolerated rather than desired, and now that distinction matters. Being wanted by something that doesn't need you is a quiet kind of validation. Here's what cat lovers often share, a preference for depth over performance. You're not impressed by loud affection, grand gestures, constant reassurance. You're moved by the small things, the quiet things, the moments that happen without announcement. A cat slowly blinking at you, choosing to sleep near you, purring when you're both just existing in the same space. Those moments feel more real than 100 I love yous that come too easily. Because you know that easy affection can be taken back just as easily. But affection that takes time to build, that means something. There's a reason cat people are often described as independent, introverted, or selectively social. It's not that you don't want connection. It's that you want connection that respects your inner world. You don't want to be needed desperately. You want to be appreciated quietly. You don't want someone who can't function without you. You want someone who functions fine alone, but still chooses to be with you. That's what cats offer, and that's why you love them. It's not about the animal, it's about what the animal represents. A kind of relationship where space isn't abandonment, where silence isn't rejection, where love doesn't have to be loud to be real. For people who grew up having to earn affection, having to perform for attention, having to be easy to be loved, cats are proof that another way exists. You can be loved without losing yourself. You can connect without merging. You can be close without being consumed. So if you're someone who loves cats, here's what I want you to know. It's not random. It's not just about being a cat person. It's about recognizing yourself in a creature that loves carefully, approaches slowly, and doesn't apologize for needing space. You're not cold for understanding that. You're not distant for valuing it. You're just someone who knows that the quietest love is often the most honest. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. Before you go, tell me, are you a cat person? And do you see yourself in the way they love? Drop it in the comments. And if you've ever felt understood by an animal more than most people, comment, "They get me." Let's see how many of us found connection in the quietest places. You're not alone, even if you prefer it that way sometimes.